Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. That's the meaning of the first mantra, Om Ajnanati Mirandasya. And the second one that we recite is Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishakha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha kalpataro bhayascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like the desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Now, we are supposed to say these pranam mantras every day. I'm not going to read the meaning of these pranam mantras every day, but those who are new, they should sit with Bhagavad Gita and this page every day before we start the class and recite these pranam mantras. I stopped here because the next two pranam mantras, before saying next two pranam mantras, we include the pranam mantra for our beloved Srila Prabhupada. This sequence of invocation to previous acharyas and devotees of the Lord through pranam mantras is given by our acharya Srila Prabhupada, and we should follow that. But since he didn't include his own pranam mantra here, we include that here after Vancha Kalpataru Bhayascha. So I don't have its meaning here, but I just recite it. We'll all recite together. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, and all other in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Most of the invocation mantras, they end with this. Some senior devotees and sannyasis, they do recite some other mantras in between, whichever their guru asks them or whichever their guru uses, kind of. So I usually, after these pranam mantras, I usually do one mantra that my Guru Maharaj recites. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatam ham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam, which means that I am what is it called? What is it called? Whatever I'm going to speak or read here afterwards is all because of my Guru's mercy. It basically means that. So let's read through the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, which was written by Srila Prabhupada, and I believe Srila Prabhupada reads this also in two recordings as it is. It's very important. This introduction was published as it is as Gita Sar also. You get a small booklet called Gita Sar. In this introduction, Srila Prabhupada gives the overall view of Bhagavad Gita, tells us exactly what we can expect, and most importantly gives us the instructions on what should be the reader's mood and bhav while reading Bhagavad Gita or while listening Bhagavad Gita. So let's start, but I'm not going to explain or go much deeper in the introduction session. It may go for 2-3 days. It's a huge introduction. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gitopanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in the Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this was written, I believe, in 1967 or something like that. Wow. So Prabhupada explains why it is titled as it is. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions on the label or the directions given by a physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, like Bhagavan Brahmaji or Bhagavan Shivji, like that. And certainly here Bhagavan designates Lord Sri Krishna as a great personality, but at the same time we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all the great acharyas, spiritual masters, like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the supreme personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and he is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as Bhagavat Puran. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. So this is the real meaning of why Srila Prabhupada titled this as Bhagavad Gita as it is. Some devotees, they explain that this is the only Bhagavad Gita where we have word-to-word meaning and a very accurate translation of Sanskrit to English. That's not what it means. Prabhupada wanted to call it as it is because the subject matter, the philosophy that is explained by the Lord Krishna himself to Arjun, we should take that philosophy as it is, without changing, without adulterating it with our own views and opinions. That is the meaning of as it is. So, the main important message of Bhagavad Gita is we have to accept Lord Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna explains the philosophy of body and soul, etc., and karma and prakriti and kala, etc. But starting from 7th chapter, the only message that is given in Bhagavad Gita is, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everyone should surrender to me. That is the only way to understand Bhagavad Gita, and that is the only message of Bhagavad Gita. There is no other message of Bhagavad Gita. So, Srila Prabhupada says, many Vedic authorities, starting from Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, etc., including recent acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Shankaracharya, etc., Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everybody accepts Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. And Lord Krishna himself states that in the Bhagavad Gita many times. We will read that. So, some examples given here in the introduction by Srila Prabhupada. In the 4th chapter of Gita, the Lord says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manur ikshvakave brave. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale nehaman mahata yogo nashta parantapa sa evayam mayatedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakhacheti rahasyam hetad uttamam. Here the Lord informs Arjun that the system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken to the sun god, and the sun god explained it to Manu. The Manu explained it to Ikshvaku, and in that way, by disciplic succession, one speaker after another, this yoga system has been coming down. But in the course of time, it has become lost. Consequently, the Lord has to speak it again, this time to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He tells Arjun that he is relating this supreme secret to him because he is his devotee and his friend. The purport of this is that Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is especially meant for the devotees of the Lord. There are 3 classes of transcendentalists, namely the Jnanis, the Yogis and the Bhakta. or the impersonalists, the meditators, and the devotee. Here, the Lord clearly tells Arjun that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, disciplic succession, because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun god to others, and it was his wish that his teachings to be distributed anew by Arjun. He wanted Arjun to become the authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjun, especially because Arjun was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna, and his intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has qualities similar to Arjun's. That is to say, he must be a devotee in a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, and he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is a very elaborate subject matter, but briefly it can be stated that a devotee is in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the 5 ways, 5 different ways. Now the next point Srila Prabhupada is establishing here is, while reading Bhagavad Gita, while listening Bhagavad Gita, we should have a devotional attitude towards a person who is speaking, that is Lord Krishna. This was especially important in the Western worlds where Srila Prabhupada went to give this message of Bhagavad Gita, where nobody knew who Lord Krishna is. They had no idea who is Lord Krishna. They didn't even know K of Krishna. So before they start reading Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says, the person who is giving this message, who is referred in Bhagavad Gita as Bhagavan, you should, at least for the reading purposes, you should accept him as the Supreme Personality. The Supreme Personality means someone who can be authoritative. Whatever he says, you have to take it as truth. And also, that's why he is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjun. And another reason that is stated in this verse is Bhaktosi me Sakha. Sakha chit. Sakha means his friend, which Srila Prabhupada explains here as Arjun was in a very intimate relationship with Krishna. So one who is devotee of Krishna has to be in intimate relationship with Krishna. And generally this relationship is actually already there, we have just forgotten it, and it becomes manifested again as we become pure. So here Prabhupada states, this relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in one of the 5 different ways. Number 1, one may be a devotee in a passive state, which is called as Shantaras. Means you are serving Krishna, but actually you don't interact with Krishna on a day-to-day basis. For example, you could be a stone under the feet of Krishna, where he sits down and plays on his flute. That is also a relationship. Or you could be a tree under which Lord Krishna performs his pastimes. Or you could be his flute, or his garment. Number 2, one may be a devotee in an active state, which means direct servant. He is your master and you are his servant. Number 3, one may be a devotee as a friend, very loving relationship as a friend. Number 4, one may be a devotee as a parent, in Vatsalya ras. And number 5, one may be a devotee as a conjugal lover, Madhurya ras. Arjun was in a relationship with the Lord as friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between this friendship and the friendship found in this material world. We should not think of Arjun's friendship with Krishna as someone we are friends with in everyday life. This transcendental friendship which cannot be had, which this transcendental friendship which cannot be had by everyone. Of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is evoked by the perfection of devotional service. We already have a relationship with the Lord. We just have forgotten. As we perform devotional service, as we get rid of all the anarthas from our heart, we become pure every day. We start remembering what relationship we have with the Lord. But in the present status of our life, we have not only forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Every living being, out of many billions and trillions of living beings, has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. It's always there. It's not something we are going to establish again. That is called Swarup, often referred to as our original constitutional position. And that stage is called Sarup Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. So Arjun was a devotee and he was in touch with the Supreme Lord in friendship. How Arjun accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. It's very important, especially I don't think we have any new person in our reading. We have some background of devotional service. So this is very important point. We have to understand and accept Bhagavad Gita exactly the way Arjun understood and accepted Bhagavad Gita. There is no other way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes some preachers tell you that there are so many different ways you can understand Bhagavad Gita. There are so many messages given in the Bhagavad Gita. You can apply those messages in your everyday life, in your business, in your time management, in your this and that. There is no such thing. These preachers are bogus preachers actually. Prabhupada explains there is only one message in Bhagavad Gita. There is only one way to understand Bhagavad Gita. There is no other two ways, different ways of understanding Bhagavad Gita. And that is exactly the way Arjun understood Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada gives a little bit hint here, few verses from the 10th chapter actually, where Arjun starts speaking in acceptance for the first time in the 10th chapter. Before that he was asking so many questions. In the middle of 10th chapter he starts eulogizing Lord Krishna and accepting the philosophy. So Prabhupada explains here how Arjuna accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. His manner of acceptance is given in the 10th chapter, starting from 12th verse. Arjun says, Param Brahma, Param Brahma, Pavitram, Paravam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhum. Ahustvam Shayah Sarve Devarshir Naradas Tatha Asito Devalo Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Pravisime Sarvam Etad Ritad Manne Yanmam Vadasi Keshava Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidur Deva Nade Danavaha. As we go through Bhagavad Gita, these shlokas are referred by Srila Prabhupada many places, so you will start remembering these. These are some of the very important shlokas. The meaning of these three shlokas is given here by Srila Prabhupada. Arjun said, you are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. You are the primeval God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. All the great sages like Narad, Asita, Devala and Vyas proclaim this of you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the gods nor demons, O Lord, know thy personality. So this is the way, this is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, to accept Krishna as it is. The way Arjun is accepting. And he explains in the last verse, the 14th verse, meaning of which is I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. So we are supposed to read Bhagavad Gita and ultimately come to this position that Lord Krishna, whatever Lord Krishna is telling us, we should accept everything as truth, as it is. The only time that doesn't happen is when you have so many doubts in your mind and so many questions about whatever you are reading or hearing. So this process that is given in Bhagavad Gita through the conversation of a devotee and the Lord, who are acting like a disciple and a spiritual master, a guru and shishya. This is a very important process. We often hear that Shraddha or faith is the first step of doing anything. Even bhakti in devotional service, on the path of devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami says that faith, Vishwas, Shraddha must be the first step. If you don't believe in someone who is saying something, why would you accept anything that he is saying? So how that Shraddha should be established and how that Shraddha or faith should be strengthened is given in Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna, Arjuna accepts Lord Krishna as spiritual master and says, now tell me what is best for me. And Lord Krishna starts giving him lessons. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun interrupts Lord Krishna and asks his doubts, his questions. Why is it like this? Why is it like that? You told me like this, but now you're telling me like this. Which one is correct? So this is the real process of establishing Shraddha or faith. Not that some senior devotee is coming you and telling you, accept whatever I am telling you. Even Lord Krishna is not forcing Arjun to accept whatever he is telling him, but explaining. There is a conversation back and forth, question and answer going on. And eventually, in the 10th chapter, Arjun says, now I totally accept everything you are telling me as truth, as it is. Because he was satisfied. All his questions were answered by Lord Krishna as a spiritual master. And this is how you establish faith, not blindly or not forcibly, not authoritatively. This is what we have to learn from Bhagavad Gita. But that being said, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is come to the Arjun's stage, where we also accept Lord Krishna as the Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. You are the Supreme Brahman, you are ultimate. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unborn, transcendental. And whatever you say, we are going to accept it. That is the meaning of becoming a devotee. On the path of devotion, when you surrender completely to Krishna, you are going to get happiness in the return. Otherwise, there is some other motive behind reading Bhagavad Gita or following the principles of devotional service. There will be a lot of ifs and buts, and eventually you will stray away from the path of devotional service. So Prabhupada, in the very beginning, Prabhupada is establishing this. Bhagavad Gita must be accepted the way Arjuna accepted. And how he accepted, Prabhupada is giving 3 important shlokas from 10th chapter. So he explains, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. Every living being is Brahman. But the Supreme Living Being or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Brahman. Paramdham, which means that he is the supreme rest or abode of everything. Pavitram means that he is pure, untainted by material contamination. Purusham means that he is the supreme enjoyer. Now we will learn eventually what is the meaning of the word Purush. Purush literally means enjoyer. Divyam means transcendental. Transcendental, when we transcend beyond this material world. The meaning of transcendental or Divyam is, it has absolutely nothing to do with this material world. You cannot relate, you cannot compare, you cannot explain in terms of material conception. That is called transcendental, beyond. Adi Devam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adi Devam, the first Deva. Ajam, someone who is unborn, there is no Janma. And Vibhum, the greatest. The meaning of Vibhu is someone who is completely opulent in terms of everything. The all-pervading. Now, one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjun, Arjun was telling him all this by the way of flattery. But Arjun, so this middle, there is one more verse, 3 verse Prabhupada is quoting. The middle verse is, Arjun says, not only me who is accepting you like this, but all the great personalities of Vedic times, they also have told me the same thing. And now you are telling me, you personally are telling me the same thing. So one may think that Arjun is friend of Krishna, that's why he is, saying, you are Param Brahma, you are Param Dham, you are the greatest. Sometimes friends do that. But Arjun, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only by himself, but by authorities like sage Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasadeva, and so on. These are the great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. Therefore, Arjun tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etad ritad manne. I accept everything you say to be true. Arjun also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. Vidur Devana Danava. This means that the Lord cannot even be known by the personalities greater than human beings. Devas, the demigods, are usually considered, not usually, they are actually considered higher than human beings. So, how can a human being understand Sri Krishna without becoming his devotee? So that is the main point here. If you don't have any interest in becoming devotee of Lord Krishna, if you don't have any interest in performing devotional service towards Lord Krishna, if you read Bhagavad Gita 1,000 times, you will not understand a word out of it. That is the point. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. There are some people in India, they write Bhagavad Gita considering Lord Krishna to be a great personality. They don't want to accept him as a god or supreme personality of God. Yeah, he was very intelligent person, that's why he spoke Bhagavad Gita. But beyond that, we don't accept him as a transcendental personality. And that is wrong. This is a very important point. Try to understand. These 2 points, most people, they try to consider Lord Krishna as a human being, just like us, but maybe intelligent one. Or there are some people who don't accept him as a supreme personality of God. They both are, and try to establish themselves as the supreme. Both mistakes are same. considering yourself as the Bhagavan or Supreme, or considering the Supreme or Bhagavan equal to you. Both are same mistakes. As long as you have this conception in your mind, you will not understand Bhagavad Gita. That is what Prabhupada is trying to say here. Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at least theoretically. According to the statements of Bhagavad Gita or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna is saying he is the Supreme. So Prabhupada says theoretically at least you have to accept before starting to read Bhagavad Gita. We should therefore at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. See, the problem with understanding Bhagavad Gita is every page of Bhagavad Gita, the message is, I am great, you need to surrender to me. And if you don't have this mood, how will you read Bhagavad Gita? So we should have this. And Prabhupada is writing this. This is kind of unspoken, what do you call, a given thing. In Vedic culture, especially in India, when you go to someone to get some knowledge, you have great reverence toward that person. You accept that person as a authority on that subject. And you may have doubts, like Arjuna had doubts, which he asked and got it cleared. But the person who is speaking to you, delivering you the message, giving you the knowledge, you should be very submissive to that person. But this was not there in the Western culture. In Western culture, there is no such thing as Guru and Shishya. Everybody is teacher there. They don't even consider them teacher. It's all friendly environment. That's why Prabhupada writes this paragraph in between. And here the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking. So whenever Vyasadeva writes Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, we should listen with our open ears, considering that yes, Bhagavan is speaking to us. And that submissiveness should be there. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita remains a great mystery. And there are so many people you will see, they have been reading Bhagavad Gita throughout their year, throughout their lifetime. Hundreds of years people read Bhagavad Gita, research on it, but they don't understand a word of it. So the key to understand Bhagavad Gita is you have to be the devotee of Krishna. Just what is Bhagavad Gita? So Prabhupada gives summary here. Just what is Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nuisance of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways. As Arjuna also was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us is full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence, which is called asat. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non-existence. Our existence is eternal, but somehow or other we are put into asat. Asat refers to that which does not exist. So what Prabhupada is referring here is this body. It's going to end one day. So we are all fearful, full of anxiety, so many problems in this material world. So long you are attached and identify yourself as someone who belongs here in this material world, you will be fearful. You will be in anxiety. That is the basic symptoms of this material existence. So Arjuna was in a similar condition, and to bring him out of that anxiety, Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So we should also read Bhagavad Gita with the same mood, that there is solution to our every problem in this Bhagavad Gita. Out of so many human beings, who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position, as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering but rather wants to make a solution to all the suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. This is very important. And this is missing in our preaching today. The preaching that you see everywhere going on in our temples and in our centers is focused on only giving discourses on stories, katha, which is mostly history, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and but what we need to understand is seldom spoken. Prabhupada says here, unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, why I am suffering in this material world. See, many times we go to satsang, we go to temple, we go to our congregational meetings, we read something, we give discourse, we hear discourses, lectures, and we come home and sometimes we discuss, why people are not able to understand Bhagavad Gita, why people are not able to understand Bhagavatam, why it is so difficult to progress in devotional service, why are we not making any progress in devotional service, why people are not coming for seva, they are just coming on time just for prasadam, nobody has a service attitude, what's going on, why? The only way to become serious in devotional service is to accept that you are suffering here. Many people don't even understand that they are suffering here. So this sentence is very important. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, why I am suffering, why I have to travel 50 miles, 50 kilometers to get evening's chapati, we should question. Why my mother is dying, why my son got cancer. We should question why. We think that everything has a solution, but there is no solution. Modern education and science keeps you in illusion, stating that everything has a solution. Nothing has a solution in this world. Especially the modern education is so misleading. We can call it stupid actually. It's so misleading because up to the age of graduation, you go through this yearly cycle of first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, 10th pass, and then 11th and 12th, and 12th pass, then you choose a career, engineering or medical, and everywhere you are supposed to give test every end of every year, right? There's some question paper, and then you have to write answers. So basically, this education system is giving a wrong impression to our young people that in this material world there is a solution for everything. Because unless you write the answer, you don't get marks, and you don't pass that grade, you don't become graduate. Every student thinks that every question has answer. That's how they teach in modern schools. Because if you don't know answer, you will get 10 marks less. So they're like prepared like this. Every question has an answer. And the moment they come out of school and college and get into real life, so many questions come in front of you which has no answer. Isn't it? Why my son died all of a sudden at the age of 20? Where is the answer to that? Isn't it? I didn't do anything, but my house got burned. Where is the answer to that? You might find out that there was some electric problem, there was a spark, something. That explains you how your house got burnt. That doesn't explain you why your house got burned, why not the neighbor's house got burned. So many questions, which basically means in this world everybody is suffering. The moment you start questioning why I am suffering, you are the right candidate to understand Bhagavad Gita, to make progress on the path of devotional service. If you don't question this, you live just like any other animal. That's why Srila Prabhupada says here, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering but rather wants to make a solution to all this suffering, one cannot be considered a perfect human being. So unless you start thinking why I am suffering, you're like an animal. You're not human being. Because dogs, they don't think like this, why I am suffering. Some dogs, they're born with big wound in their leg. There's so many worms in that wound and he's suffering. Street dogs, nobody's taking. And he never cares. He doesn't know why he's suffering. But human beings is given this special intelligence to question why I am suffering. Prabhupada says here, if you don't question why you are suffering, then you're not human being. And the earlier you question, it's better. That's why we have so many examples in our Vedic culture where, 8-year-old boy becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. He starts questioning at that age, why I am suffering. Why somebody took my laddu. We have to question why I am suffering, isn't it? Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa. Every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the Absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering or why they came from, or where they came from, where they shall go after death, are proper students of understanding Bhagavad Gita. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjun. Now, we have five minutes. Let me give you a little bit explanation about this word absolute. Here this sentence comes, every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the Absolute. Now, in English Bhagavad Gita, you will see this word way too often, because this word is used to is used as another name for Lord Krishna. Actually, absolute truth. Lord Krishna is often regarded as absolute truth. In Marathi or Hindi or any other languages, that is translated as Param Satya. Now, the Param doesn't actually equates to absolute. It's very important to understand. It's very difficult to explain it in other languages, because Param means topmost. It's very easy meaning of Param. Param means supreme. Sometimes it is said Supreme Personality of Godhead. This supreme means Param, but absolute doesn't mean Param. But there is no other word for absolute in Marathi or Hindi. That's why they used it Param. And in Sanskrit also it is, the word Param is used. Param Dham, Param Brahma, Param Dham. But Prabhupada was very intelligent. Prabhupada's guru was very intelligent. Why he uses the word absolute, you have to understand. In the spiritual world, you will see this sentence also many times in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. In the spiritual world, everything is absolute. But in the material world, the opposite of absolute, when you understand that, you will understand absolute. In the material world, everything is relative. The opposite of absolute is relative. What this means is, in this material world, to explain something, you have to explain so many other things. Make a connection with them, put out a relativity theory. Relatively, you have to explain everything. But Lord Krishna is often called as absolute because he cannot be explained by anything else. Whatever he is, he is. You have to accept him as it is. That is the meaning of absolute. It's and this is the biggest, obstacle or stumbling block in the minds of the intellectual ones. Those who are very intelligent, they try to logically understand everything. They stumble upon this because Lord Krishna cannot be explained. He is absolute. For example, when somebody asks you, explain what is truth, how do you explain? You have to first explain what is lie. So, whenever you don't speak whatever is untrue, that is called true. So in this material world, everything you have to explain. You can explain logically like this by establishing a relative connection between them. But Lord Krishna cannot be explained like this. That's why he's called absolute. There is no way to explain him. That's why he's called absolute. So there is a huge difference between relative understanding and absolute understanding. So that's why he's called absolute truth. So like if someone asks you to explain darkness, how will you explain darkness? How will you explain darkness, Mataji?
Light.
The absence of light. So, can you explain darkness without explaining light? Which means darkness has no independent existence of its own. In this material world, everything is dependent on something else. But Lord Krishna is not dependent on anything. That's why he is called absolute. So many people, they fail to understand this, and they go all the way to that point where they accept Krishna as a supreme person, supreme personality of Godhead, etc. But they don't go beyond that and accept him completely. Accepting him as absolute also means whatever he does is absolute. So if he does something wrong, that also you have to accept as it is. Srila Prabhupada explains in one lecture very nicely. And that's why modern people, especially in Kali Yuga, they have such a difficulty accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrendering completely to him. Even our devotees, our own devotees, they don't surrender to Krishna completely. Because they don't accept whatever Krishna says. They try to relate him with whatever hodgepodge degree they have received from modern university. And then eventually they fail to understand Krishna. But they choose not to surrender to him. They choose their understanding of knowledge is better than Lord Krishna. So they don't accept. Like you will see many Hindus, they will complain about Krishna saying that, oh, he married 16,000 wives, how that can be according to dharma. Well, there are so many things can be explained, but there are so many things cannot be explained also. Once you accept somebody as the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, he makes the rules. So he can break also those rules. You are not authority to question him about anything. And for that, we have to understand that he is the Purusham, he is the supreme enjoyer. We are not. So he can enjoy however he wants. He makes the rules. Like dharma is defined in the Shastra as rules made by Lord Krishna. So if he breaks the rules, that is also dharma. So some people say, oh, he cheated. He asked Arjun to kill Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya and Karna by cheating. He broke his own rules. No. He is God. He is absolute. If he wants, he can make the rule from tomorrow that yes, you can kill anyone at any time. So when we go to this level, we actually become devotee of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, we will keep questioning why he did like this, why he did like that. And how to get to that level? First of all, you have to understand that you are suffering. Some people ask, oh, Krishna did like this, Krishna did like that, why Krishna did like this, why? Before understanding this, let's talk about why you are suffering. So that's why Prabhupada says here, unless you get to the root of your suffering, why you are here, why you are changing body, why your body is becoming old, giving you so much pain, why do you have to die? Did you ever ask this question in any university? They ask this question, why we have to die, why we have to, where do we go after death? First try to understand this, try to find answers to this, and then that will lead you slowly to accept that personality as absolute. Unless you accept him as absolute, no questions asked, your sufferings are not going to go away. So if you meet someone like arrogant like this, your Krishna did like this, tell him, let's talk about why you are suffering first. We'll talk about who is Krishna later. Yeah? And that's what I was saying. This is what it is missing in our preaching today. Nobody talks about suffering. If you listen to Srila Prabhupada's lectures every day, you will see that all he talks about why you are suffering. Person who is in a great pain, let's say physical pain, it's got a big tumor or cancer or a broken leg or something like that, he never questions doctor. Who are you to do surgery on my stomach? He has to accept whatever. Why? Because he accepted that I am in pain and whoever is helping me must be God. And for that, to come to that level, we have to give up our ahankar. We have to give up our, damba, darpa, abhiman, all these kind of things. And that is what is the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. How to give up those anarthas from your heart. And without that, you cannot come to this level, isn't it? So, we will stop here. Let's put a bookmark on page 8. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I was thinking till we complete, it may take 4 or 5 days to finish introduction section itself. So till we finish introduction, we won't have any questions at the end, so that we can finish fast. Is that okay with everyone? Or if you have any questions or concerns or anything to add or remove, you can do that. I don't mind.
I'm okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think from starting next weekend, we'll, as you read at least Saturday and Sunday, so we will be able to cover more. Yes, production itself will take we say 4 or 5 days, but that 4 or 5 days is like a month.
Yeah. Or if everyone is okay, they have read introduction many times, we can skip and directly start with the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That's also fine with me. because we are all senior devotees.
See, let's Prabhuji, let's read. Let's read. Let's go through. And by the time we finish introduction, we all will get into a little rhythm. The 7 o'clock and yours 4:30. The schedule will sink in, and meanwhile, in let's say next 4 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll see who else is also interested. I think this post said he's also like to join. Let's go through the introduction. We have started.
Yeah.
Let's finish it.
Yeah. That's fine.
And the kids class will have on the same Zoom link.
No. They have a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So is it okay to not have question answers for this 5-6 sessions until we finish introduction?
Rajesh Prabhu, what do you think? Or we will leave 5 minutes for some question. Whatever we will Rajesh Prabhu.
Yeah.
I'm okay, Prabhu. Let us complete it. And if any questions comes, we can message or text or something.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, then let's read.
Okay. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpataro vayascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.